You know, when you meet someone and instantly think, we could talk for hours. That's Jen. She hosts the Jenn Baker podcast, helping women over 45 elevate their health, hormones, and happiness. And today we're joining forces. It's a little bit wellness, a little bit pop culture, and a lot of laughs. Hi, Jen. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you? I'm so happy to see you again.
I know, me too. It's been a while, and I'm really glad that we're embarking on this mission to help women and get all of the information that we can out there. I don't think we could have found a better partnership for this because, after all, the girls that are sitting there watching reality TV are the same ones that are dealing with the hormonal issues, et cetera, et cetera. So I think it's perfect.
That's explaining me to a T. I'm dealing with hormonal issues, but I do love me some housewives. So,
Yeah. See, and that's half of our audience. So the reason we're doing this is because we saw an opportunity, and I'm going to go back a little bit and talk about how we met. So chime in if you have anything to say.
I will.
I talked about it a little bit on one of the prior episodes where I covered the Via de Guadalupe trip that I went on. And I think you mentioned it on your podcast as well. But she's the girl, you guys. She's the girl that I was talking about that I met on the bus and that came over and talked to me. And it's my new friend, Jen. And we have decided that fate brought us together that day for a lot of purposes, but this is one of them. And so I remember the first thing I thought about was how lovely and approachable your spirit seemed. And I'm not really that girl that gravitates towards people.
That's the same with me, but I felt like you were super easy to talk to and you just seemed really calm. I didn't get any weird vibes from you. So when you were just standing on the top of the stairs, I just walked over and I'm like, hey. And you shared something very um, deep to you, something that was very
Yeah,
heavy on your
straight out of the
mind,
gate,
like
right?
instantly. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I can totally relate to that. And hopefully I gave you a little bit of courage moving forward with that.
You
So,
did. You
yeah.
did indeed. And I remember thinking, wow, that's very forthcoming of someone I just met to be like, hey, well, let me put your mind at ease because here's what's going on. And I remember that gave me the warm and fuzzies. And then by the next day, we were hanging out and taking pictures together.
Yeah.
And enjoying wine. And I didn't realize at the time, I know a little bit more now, but that was probably one of the weekends that you had indulged in wine more than normal, huh? Because you don't really drink wine all that much anymore.
I don't drink wine all that much, but if there's a girls' trip, I will prepare for that. And I might even try to lose a couple pounds before I go because I know I'm gonna gain a couple while I'm on my girls' trip. So I'm very careful with my wine. I don't drink late at night because then I can't sleep. So if I'm drinking at a winery and doing wine tasting, that's the best way because I can just drink a little bit and then I can drink some water and wait a while and then have a little bit more and I can kind of just check in with myself to see how I'm feeling and also eating the cheese and the little snacks.
That
So
helped.
yeah, so I love having fun experiences and I always go with like the 90-10 rule. So 90% of the time I'm sticking with my routine, I'm working, I'm eating well, and then there's that 10% of the time where I'm going to go all out and just let myself go and have a good time with my girlfriends.
Very cool. So I guess it bears noting, at least to my audience, um, Jen has embarked on a wellness journey that has taken her or brought her to where she is now, but it wasn't anything that happened overnight, right, Jen?
No, that's right. So I had gotten into some really bad habits just as a young girl. And so my weight fluctuated up and down for many years. I was always able to get back down to a small size. And then after I got married and had the kids and another kid, and then the marriage was unhealthy. So I got into some bad habits that way. It really took a toll on me and it really took me some focus to just one day I just woke up and I'm like, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm 80 pounds heavier and this has to stop. And so I just sometimes it just takes that one day where
Mhm.
you just wake up and you're like, this is it. I'm going to do it. But there was many days leading up to that where I wasn't ready, many months, right? So I went ahead and got started on a plan. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't really know anything about um, whole food eating or processed foods. I had spent a lot of time eating processed foods and feeding it to my own kids. So now I look back and I'm like, oh, sorry, guys.
I
But
know, I know.
um, hopefully 20 years ago, it wasn't as bad as it is now. But it took some real determination to cut all that stuff out and just follow a plan. And it started with like a keto plan
Okay.
where I was just when that whole low carb phase came in, I was like, I can do that. I can still eat my salad dressings. I can still eat cheese. I can still eat all the high fat stuff that I want to eat, plus the protein and a couple of berries, right? But that was 8 or 9 years ago. And now I've evolved more into like a whole food thing. So I'm not eating the salad dressings, I'm not eating the seed oils. Um, and I just believe in just like a whole, it's more like an ancestral way of eating, like how our
Mhm.
ancestors ate 2000 years ago. What were they eating? They were eating the meat, they were eating the plants, and they were having some dairy, they were having some fruit, but only seasonally. And the fruit back then didn't have as much sugar as it does now because
Right.
now they make it to be sweeter so that we eat more of it and buy more of it. So, yeah, that's kind of where I'm living at this time.
And so you went far beyond just getting yourself in shape. You decided that you were inspired enough that you wanted to bring all of this knowledge to others. And as such, you went out and educated yourself a little
Yeah.
bit. Tell us about that.
So some people, it was funny because as I got down to my smaller size and started working out and my body was changing and I was feeling really good about the workouts because it was reducing my anxiety and just I was in a really stressful time in my life at that point because I was separated from my ex-husband. Um, so the working out really helped with reducing my stress and anxiety. And during that time, people would come to me and go, what are you doing? Help me do something so that I can lose my weight. So I was writing plans for people. And then after a couple of years, I'm like, maybe I could do something with this. And so I went back to the school and I got certified as a personal trainer. I got certified as a nutrition coach, and then I got certified as a hormone consultant. Um, the hormone consultant was the most recent one, just because I have been over the last couple of years dealing with that, and I figured everybody I know is pretty much in their 40s and 50s, so every woman is going to hit that wall where they need
Hmm.
support with balancing their hormones. Everyone. It's not just random people. Everybody need help with that. So, and there's a lot of misinformation out there. So, I wanted to do what was best for me, and I kind of use myself as an experiment and I try all these different things, and if I say, "Oh, that clicked with my body really liked those changes," then I've learned and I can pass that on to other people. So I started a business about a year and a half ago where I help women and they come to me and we do detoxes where they can reduce their inflammation, they can reduce their joint pain, they can sleep better and just get educated on all these chemicals that are in processed foods that really it they cause you to be hungry and they cause you to have cravings. And so when you pull that out of your diet, eating is more manageable. You feel like you're more in control. The food isn't in your head all day. Come eat me, right? The food chatter. I always call it, do you have food chatter in your head? Yes. So when you pull all of those chemicals and the processed food out of your diet, all that food chatter goes away and you're the one in control. So once people learn that, they can make the right decisions for
Right,
themselves.
right. So it's really weird to me when I think about kind of the evolution of this new friendship because we met in Mexico and we had both just come back from Europe over the summer and we both spoke about it in Mexico about how the food was so different in Europe and all of the additives that we're allowed to put in this country and just the fact that we didn't have the same issues we have when we're eating those same foods in the States. And all of that led me to kind of really start thinking about it because I suffer with chronic inflammation. I suffer with chronic pain. I have almost daily headaches, and my sleep cycle is incredibly disrupted. To be fair, all things being real, I love my vodka sodas. And so I know that when you drink alcohol, especially right before bed, it's going to add to your disruptions and your sleep cycles. But I also know that there are a lot of other things that I'm doing that I could eliminate first
Mhm.
in order to see if it's something that is artificial. So I decided after Mexico, okay, the party's over. We went to Europe, we went to Mexico. It's time to start getting real. And the doctor had just prescribed for me this medication because I was diagnosed with osteoporosis and osteoarthritis, having cracked the same rib 3 times last year, broken a toe and a finger, when in all my years of life, I had never broken anything. And when they gave me the medicine and they told me I'd need to take a test every 3 years and you like can't eat and you have to sit up and you got to, jump up and down and sing Yankee Doodle Dandy when you take this medication, it scared the hell out of me. And I
Mhm.
just thought there's got to be another way. And so I started, back then I put collagen in my coffee every morning, and I make sure I did my research and I made sure that I got a good brand. I'll tell you about it after, and you could tell me if I'm on the right one. And then I started doing, most recently, started doing creatine as well because I noticed that when I work out, it kind of just helps, and it helps me even when I don't. And then I realized, like, okay, I'm going to start on this microplastic thing because everybody's been talking about it. And so I'm making little changes, honestly, little changes. And then I started listening to your podcast, kind of just when I'm doing my walks in the morning or whatever. And I really started listening to some of the things you were saying, and it made me realize, wait a minute, she's the answer to all of the questions that I have. Because what I struggle with, and I'm sure that I speak for a lot of women when I say this, is I don't have time to figure out what the right protein powder is to drink. I don't have time to know if I'm supposed to mix my vitamin D's with my K's with my alpha elemental P's, and if I'm supposed to eat this or that. I mean, you made it really simple a minute ago, 100 grams of protein. I can work with that, but if I have to figure out, okay, well, I have to go to Costco and buy all of these things that are probably not good for me because they've been sitting on the shelf too long anyway. And then I'm buying them just because somebody said that I should be on it, but I don't know what it's doing for me, what it's not. For example, it's important that if you're going to be on magnesium, you drink plenty of water, right? A lot of people don't know that. So somebody says go on magnesium, you go on it, and now you're wondering why the heck you're walking around with your back killing you all the time. So it's things like that that made me realize, like, I think the answer is right before me. She is someone who can simplify my journey. And what I really watched the weekend that we met, after learning what field you kind of lived in, what I was watching how you treated others and how you observed others, because most life coaches, health and wellness coaches, nutritionists, anybody in that field. And I don't want to put everybody in the same box, but there is a good amount of these professionals that are very judgy and they're very righteous. And it's, if you don't do it this way, then I can't help you. And it's not, you're going to never be healthy. And I don't think that there's a one size fits all approach, in particular to women over 50, because our problems are unique. And how we've lived our life up to this point determines where we are and what we need to do. So I'm really excited that when I talked to you about this and I said, Jenn, here's what I need. I know that for me, I'm not focused on a scale. I'm focused on how can I increase my longevity. I walk 1 to 3 miles a day right now. I was up to 3 to 5, but I had to take a little bit of a break. I go to the gym 3 times a week. That's great. I don't want to do any less than that 10 years from now, 15 years from now. That doesn't mean I need to lose 30 pounds and have, a mommy makeover to
Yeah.
achieve that. And I think that that's what I found so beautiful about your approach is that you were genuine and you were like, well, that's okay because maybe eventually you'll think about doing this, but for right now you're here. And that is what so many of us need. We just need to know that it's okay for us to be where we are. And as long as we're aware of it, we're way ahead of where we were yesterday.
Thank you for saying all that. That's very kind. And I think, no, I don't judge people for whether they're ready now or ready later. I had many moments where I started and I don't want to say failed, but it just wasn't the right time. So I stopped. And so, like I said, I was like this up and down for a very long time. Something happened when I was 47 or so where it just clicked in. I don't know if I had reached my breaking point with my relationship, and it was just everything at once where I'm like, I need to make some changes, and it has to start with myself. But I'm aware I can give somebody all the support and the help that they need, and they don't always end up following the plan. And that's okay because now they know. And when they're ready, they can come back to me or they can relook at what I've already shared with them and say, okay, I'm ready to do it. Everyone's in a different place. And so people fall off the wagon or whatever. And my thing is just start back up the next day. It's okay. Like, never, just have compassion for yourself. And no, I don't judge anybody. And I feel like if I'm giving you 12 things to do all at the beginning, that's going to be overwhelming after a
Hmm.
week or two. And guess what? People just say, "Nope, I'm not doing any of
It's
it
too
because it's
much.
way too
Yeah.
hard." So I like to start small, which is let's change your food. And then as you get that under control, people start to feel good and they're like, what else can I do? And I'm like, why don't you try walking? It helps balance your hormones. Let's put in walking, and then let's add the gym. And then let's take out the plastics from your life. And it's just little by little building. And so I didn't start off this way, but I'm a person who loves to go down a rabbit hole, whether that's good or bad.
Me
Sometimes it's
too.
not so good, but I went down all these rabbit holes with health over nearly the last 10 years. So, where I am now, I don't expect anyone to be there, but I want to be there for them. If they have a question, I usually got the answer. And if I don't, that just sparks me to be getting online and looking for the answer for the person because that's something that I go, oh, wait, I never even thought about that. I need to know that answer too. So, I'm going to do the work for you.
I love it. I think that it's beautiful. Your approach is beautiful. I know that you and I are embarking on a journey that's going to change my life, and wherever I decide I want it to take me is where it's going to take me. I'm really excited because I have a bonus. I got a new friend out of this, so yay!
Yay.
And but I think that it's really important. It's a good opportunity and a good time for you to tell people about your program and what journey we're about to embark on together.
Okay, so the first thing I do is I have a consultation meeting with somebody either in person or on Zoom or on the phone. And we talk about what your issues are. So, what are you seeing in your life that you want to change? Do you have aches and pains? Are you tired? Are you not sleeping? You're having hot flashes, you're whatever it is, you're grouchy, you're depressed. We go over all of those things so that I know what your goals are and we can track those. And then I get, all of your physical information as far as like how much do you weigh, how tall are you, um, what are your goals weight wise, and how much exercise are you currently getting, and then I create a plan. I have different plans. I have a 90-day transformation program, which is kind of intense, because we are working privately one-on-one for 90 days to get a complete makeover. And then the detox, I have two detox plans. One's for 10 days and one's for 21 days. And I can do those one on one too, but those are also fun to do with a group. So
Oh yeah.
often I'll offer a detox and I'll tell people we're starting on such and such date. Reach out if you want to join in. So then we're a group. So we do like a group text where we're all sharing what we're doing. And every day I send something encouraging and we just chat about how it's going. And you hear the same thing every time from everybody. It's too much food. I can't eat all this, or I'm not craving sugar anymore, or it's a lot of stuff like that. I'm sleeping better. My joints aren't hurting. My face looks smaller. So that's a fun one. I have a 10-day detox and a 21-day detox. And like I said, that could be private one-on-one or bring in some friends. I give a little discount if it's a group. And then we just track. Every week we meet, and I'm available through the day by text message, but we do our weekly meeting either on Zoom or in person or however you choose to do it. And we go over what didn't work. And you might say, I didn't like eating this, or I didn't like eating that, or I was too hungry, or I was too full. And then we kind of adjust things. And I say, you don't have to eat if you're not hungry, or, oh, you're hungry. Maybe you need more protein at breakfast. We tweak things. And that's how we do it. And then I feel like when I give somebody all of these meal plans, now you have it for the rest of your life. You don't have to, you could come back to me for accountability later if you want, which I have a lot of people that just want to meet once a month, that they've done my program, but they still want to chat with me once a month just for accountability and just to say, I went on a trip, I've gained 5 pounds. Can you like encourage me for the next week? And I'll just send them little text messages here and there, and then we'll check in a month later. So that's basically what it is.
I'm so excited. So, are we also going to be covering like which supplements I should be having? And is that all part of what you'll be guiding me along with as well?
Yeah, I love that you're taking creatine because that's so good. And I know some people have a negative idea about what creatine does. They think it's to grow muscles, and that's one of the benefits, but you're not going to grow big. It just makes you a little bit more defined because it just
It like
holds a little bit
hydrates your
more.
muscles, right?
It hydrates your muscles, yeah.
Okay.
So, but also there's been a lot of studies out in the last couple of years where they've been using creatine on people with dementia, and it is reducing their dementia. So it really helps to keep your cognitive side strong. So it's really good for cognition too.
And we all know someone who suffers or suffered from dementia. And this is one of my hot button issues. I'm sure we'll be talking about it in one of our podcasts that we do together going forward. But anything that you can do to prevent or stave off the effects of that disease, you guys do it, because once you get to the place that you're at, there's no going back. It's all
Mhm.
about trying to be preventative. And so for me, anything I can do to ease any degree of brain fog is definitely something that I'm after. But I think that it's important that we look at it because I'm sorry to say it, but our government's not going to look at this kind of stuff for us. They're not going to take care of us. In fact, they're responsible for all of the crap that is in our food. So, as far as I'm concerned, if you care about your people, then you need to do the research yourself and know what you need to be taking to help with these things that are inevitable for some of us.
That's right. And big food is very powerful. So they're not going to change anything. So
Correct.
it's up to us to do our own research. And I lost my own mom to dementia, Alzheimer's 3.5 years ago. And so leading up to that, the years before, I started reading all the books on how to prevent Alzheimer's because I didn't want to go down the same road. So that's another thing that really like sparked me towards this journey because I kept learning that if you don't eat processed foods, it really reduces your risk of Alzheimer's. It's you need to be eating the healthy fats and the proteins and some of the dairy and the fiber, and that's going to keep all those connections in your brain from drying up. And that's where we need that healthy fat because if we don't get the healthy fat, and my mom for from the time I was little was on her low fat diet, right? So
Mhm.
low fat, and if she would love sugar, so she would eat like the fat-free cookies or the fat-free muffins. And so I don't know if that contributed to it, but it might have. You need those healthy fats to keep those brain connections from drying up and breaking off. That's the simple way to put it.
I could think of so many things that we could talk about going forward. I'm getting more and more excited as I'm sitting here listening to you talk because I can just see that this is an opportunity for us to put some really good, powerful information out there. And I feel comfortable that I'm sharing and imparting this information with someone who knows what they're talking about. So it's not, it's proven. You've worked for it. You're living proof, and that's another thing that I love about your your format, if you will. It's like you're your own guinea pig, and then you say,
Yes.
this is what's worked for me, and give it a try if you want to. And I kind
Yeah.
of love that. So I do want to talk about one more thing before we move on and away from this, just because I want to know briefly how important are balancing your hormones when it comes to overall health and wellness.
Our hormones are super important for keeping us young, right? So I know there's a lot of controversy out there about HRT, um, just due to the one study that came out way long ago about if you have breast cancer in your family, you should not take HRT. Well, that was the only study that got published, like on the news and really exposed to everybody. The studies since then say the opposite. They're just not talking about them on TV or publishing them out where people see them. They are published, but that now they say that HRT reduces cancer. You need it for everything, your cognition, everything. So I did start doing bioidenticals a couple years back. So I have a estrogen patch and I take a progesterone, and I'm on the lowest dose of both for the last probably 4 years, and it's incredible. So I mean, it just keeps your hormones where they should be so that you're not eliminating hormones year by year. And that's when you become older and more frail and you lose your muscle tone and your skin gets really saggy. You lose your cognition, your eyesight, your bones get frail. So
Sounds fun.
I love it. So, and it also keeps your mood stabilized because a lot of people, when they get into that perimenopause, menopause stage, they get a little, your mood gets like this. So
Hmm.
you're like, you're either walking on eggshells or it's rough. So, and that's where I had kind of started to go. I'm a generally positive person with a pretty like level-headed attitude all the time, but I was starting to feel kind of low and depressed. And this went on for a few months along with my hot flashes. So when I reached out to my doctor, they recommended the HRT. They didn't recommend the bioidenticals, and I didn't know much about it at that time. So I just started taking what they gave me. But then I started going down that rabbit hole. And I'm like, ooh, I don't want this synthetic stuff in my body. I want something all natural. So that's what I'm doing now. So that's another podcast we could talk about too.
I love it. Okay, I'm so excited to talk about all the things me. Just kidding. It's not really me. It's my journey. And I'm doing it because I want to be vulnerable and I want to put myself out there and I want to share with people the good days and the bad days and the wins and the challenges, because it's only when we fail that we can get up and succeed, right? If we never get anything wrong, then we're never going to get anything right.
That's
And
right.
as far as I'm concerned, it's worth the shot. So I really appreciate you helping me along this journey. And I think that we're going to help a lot of women along the way.
Yeah, I hope so. And I'm honored to help you. It's going to be a fun process.
Yay. All right. For all of those who have been wondering, this is the other reason I really like Jenn. She's a big Real Housewives of Orange County fan. Yay. So
I am.
when we
Thank
started
you.
talking about our podcast, she said, "Oh, health and wellness," and then we forgot. And then the next day, she said, "Oh, by the way, I forgot to ask you what yours was about." And I was like, "Oh, it's reality TV. I do a lot of housewives." And your eyes just like lit up, and you were like, "Wait, I love the housewives." And I was like, "See, she is my people. I knew I liked
Yes.
this girl."
Yep. Gotta love them.
Yeah. So, okay, let's talk about Amsterdam and what's going on in Orange County. This episode is called Tulip Service, and we'll get into why. But it does start off with day two in Amsterdam, and Shannon's still high from day one in Amsterdam. And I want to talk a little bit, just in general, about What the hell's going on with Shannon and all her antics?
I feel like she's up in her antics this season. Last season, I feel like it was more, they were a little more spaced out, like as far as time wise. And so it seemed more real, but now it's like the whole show is her, something's wrong. She's sitting on her blush, like she's on space cakes, like she's making these weird poses on the hot tub crock pot. I don't know. It was just very, it seems like a lot. It seems like she's really morphing into that and like wanting to share more of her antics,
It's
but
very
it's kind of making her
slapstick.
look like a little bit like a mess.
Yeah, it's a little slapstick. It seems like to me, it's giving holy shit, next season is season 20 and I really need this job. And
Yeah, and I
I'm
really like Shannon. I've got to
me
say,
too.
I've
Me
gone
too.
back and forth with her, but at the last few seasons, I really feel for her and I really like her. I am a fan.
Yeah, and I think that that's probably everybody's perspective. I mean, she caught a lot of flack last season, and deservedly so. She did some stupid shit,
She
but
did, but I feel like she made some good changes in her life.
I agree. And I think that when we know better, we do better, right? And I think she's a testament to that. With regards to her antics, if I'm being honest, I could do without them. I really could. I feel a little bad for her because outside of, the dogs and her daughters, she doesn't have a storyline. And I feel like she almost is feeling compelled to do these things for her portion of airtime and it's falling flat. And the thing is, the other girls are starting to notice it and get frustrated by it now
Yeah.
too.
I would
Yeah.
love for Shannon to remember when she was doing her business and she was promoting different things. I would love for her to find something where she can start another business and be more busy about that instead
Hmm.
of all of these little antics. I agree with you. I feel like she's got maybe her days are not as full as they used to be. And
You think?
she needs to get out there and just do things by herself and or maybe find another business that she can start and really get into. I mean, she's a funny, likable person. And I respect her for standing strong against Tamara too. I mean, I don't know if I should say that, but I just feel like her and Tamara's done a lot to her and she's putting up her boundary and she's like, you know what? We could be civil, but I don't want to be her friend anymore.
And
And I
that's
think that's
fair,
okay.
right? If that's what
Yeah.
she wants, that's what she gets to do. It's the way I see
Yeah.
it.
Yep.
All right, let's talk about this. Do you think Heather's the friend your mom warned you about in high school?
I didn't agree with that statement. I feel like Heather is just Heather. She can be fun, and it was a little surprising to see that she wanted to take mushrooms. I was shocked about that. I will admit I have never done that, but many people that I know have done it multiple times, and they're fine. So I just was a little surprised. I even was telling my fiance about it. He's like, "Why in the world would two grown women do mushrooms on television?" I don't know. Like, that's not what I would do, but they seem to handle it pretty well, right? I mean,
Yes, and then no. I mean, look, so I listen to Heather's podcast and she's pretty wild. The chick is wild. She's constantly talking about hotel sex with Terry. She
really?
has, cannabis bars at all her parties. She's very open about it. And I find it highly refreshing when it comes to bougie de bro because it's just such a like an oxymoron,
Contradiction? Yeah,
right? It just
exactly.
doesn't make any sense. And then, to see her like when the last episode when she's sitting there passing that big old joint over to I think it was Gretchen and it's just like in your Chanel like really it's just funny to me but by the same token I think it was necessary because otherwise this entire outing would have just been about the conflict between Gretchen and Tamara. And I think we needed a little bit of levity. And in my opinion, Gina wanted to show a different side of herself that she doesn't get to show. And she hasn't gotten to show since we saw like the disastrous side of her when she used to drink.
Yes. And now she's sober. So now she's, what is it, California sober?
California sober, baby. Yes, she is definitely California sober. So the girls go to see the tulips, which actually I'd love to go see the tulips.
Yeah.
I don't think I would take mushrooms. I don't think I would take mushrooms and leave the house at this point in
No,
my
no,
life.
no.
No, I don't
No.
think I would. And so then we see Shannon and the Spanks and more of her antics,
Yeah.
grabbing the horse and trying to get on the horse and
Yeah. What was that? She reached underneath and grabbed the horse's part. And I'm like, there's no need for that. Like, you,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
not going to help you up.
Yeah. The funniest part about that to me was the fact that the two girls that are on the mushrooms are sitting there making fun of the one on the horse because
Yeah.
that's how
Right.
ridiculous those people look to them.
That's
Like,
right. That's
yeah.
funny.
So I don't know. I could have taken or left the whole mushroom thing. I will say it did make Gina an entirely different person, like
Yeah.
to the point that it pissed Emily off. And
Yeah. And she's like, will you just stop talking? You haven't
yeah,
been
I
talking this
couldn't
whole
believe
time.
that because Emily, I don't think I've ever seen Emily on camera like confront Gina or say anything negative. I mean, those are
No.
the besties. So
Yeah.
that was really weird. Um,
Yeah.
and here's the thing. When they went into the place, did you catch that part where Tamara says, "Oh, I just need to sit down for a few minutes. So Heather, can you serve me?" And then Heather, high as a kite, comes
Yes.
over with the tray, serves
Yes.
Tamara, and then goes, "I don't want to do this." Goes and puts them
And then
down.
puts it back. Now, was she still high from her mushroom
I
thing at
think
that point?
so. I think
Okay.
so because at that conversation at the table, that's when Gina wouldn't shut up. She just kept
That's right. Yeah.
yakking and
That's
yakking.
right.
And
Yeah.
I mean, listen, the thing that I found was that Gina on mushrooms is like truth serum because I don't think she would have said that to Jen had she not been high. What do you think?
I agree. That was a lot. That was a lot to put that out there and for Shannon to be sitting there listening.
Yeah.
I truly felt bad for
I
Shannon
thought it
and
was
Jen
incredibly
because,
messy. I thought it was
yeah.
really messy. And I
I
thought,
mean, maybe Jen could have said in private, like, I don't need a luncheon. I didn't really care to have a luncheon, but I don't think she ever meant to berate Shannon or put Shannon down for giving her a luncheon. I thought it was very sweet that Shannon did that.
yeah, she even went home and told Ryan, like, gosh, she went way, way above and beyond and all of those things. So
Yeah.
I think she was definitely coming from a place of gratitude and almost like embarrassment because if you listen to the conversation that they were having in the store, it was leading to the fact that they're not really at a place where they're getting married anytime soon. So there might be
Yeah.
a little bit of a pause on the marriage. So it was kind of an awkward, weird time for her to be celebrated. What
Yeah.
I thought was even stranger, though, was the fact that Gina's, I guess, the basis of her argument lied in the fact that it should have been her party. What the hell? Like, well, Travis and I had a really, really rough year. And so if anybody deserves celebrating, I got to think that was the mushrooms, right? She doesn't really think
That must
that.
have been the mushrooms. Or maybe a little jealousy, maybe. But I feel like Shannon and Jen are kind of new friends. And maybe Shannon has really been appreciative of the support she's been getting lately because Jen's been standing up for her. And
Hmm.
so she wanted to give her something back that was very nice. And she did a beautiful job with it. I mean, it was lovely.
It was.
Um, but then they brought up the Alexis thing. And so, and Jen said, yes, we're still friends and we still do things together. And Shannon was a little surprised about that. So kind of felt bad about that. But then again, I'm like, how does she not know that?
Well, and I have that on my notes as a question. Do you think that do you think let's talk about loyalty and friendship, okay? So we're friends now and somebody does something horrible to me, but you're friends with them too. Does that mean you need to end your friendship? Do you think that out of loyalty to me you should? Does it depend on the offense? Like where are you at on that?
I think it depends on the offense. If someone does something to you that is so horrible, I'd be like, I'm not going to be friends with someone who acts like that. And the things Alexis has done, I am not a fan of hers at all. I'm
Same.
just not. So I don't agree with the things that she's done to Shannon or the things that she said. And so, I could see, I mean, she doesn't seem to me like a quality friend. It's like if you can watch somebody do something like that to someone you care about, they could do it to you.
That part, that is what I'm talking about. Now, granted, taking that approach seems a little bit like self centered and self serving, like, well, if they could do it to you, they could do it to me thing. But at the end of the day, we just said it like when you know better, you do better. So if you know
Mhm.
that this person is capable of this behavior towards someone that you care about, then they're probably capable of it toward you as well. And
Yeah.
I would steer clear. Now, I think that the only exception would be if it was something that like we fundamentally disagreed on in in practice anyway, and we've just agreed to disagree. Maybe it's
Mhm.
political or maybe it's
Oh, yeah.
whatever. You know what I mean? That's the only way I can see saying, you know what she did to you doesn't really affect how she treats me in our relationship, so I'm going to remain friends with this person. But outside of that, I think loyalty calls for you to, it's kind of like the whole Larsa and Jody thing, and the Larsa and Lisa thing on Miami. Why didn't you
Yeah.
unfollow him? Well, just unfollow the damn guy. What's so hard about that if you're just trying to
Right.
show me you're my friend, right?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah,
Lisa should have definitely unfollowed as soon as Larsa said, "Can you unfollow?" She should have said, "Absolutely." And that would have been the end of it. Now, she can't control Jody from hanging out with him.
correct. Nor should she need to.
No.
Right. Okay, so let's move on with this. The girls end up heading to the human crock pots on the canals, and they had the wild hats, which, okay.
A little tacky, but
Well,
sometimes
be
I think
careful for
everybody's
our
putting
next
on.
girls' weekend.
Are you planning some hats?
I may be bringing trucker hats. We don't
I'll
know.
wear them. I'll wear it. Yeah,
And do you agree that the word moist is just not okay?
I agree.
It's really funny. I podcasted with Corey and we did Salt Lake City, and I don't edit very much at all. It's just not necessary. It's not the flavor I'm trying to give. And I was listening and he ended a sentence with moist and I could not deal with it. I had to take it out.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know if he noticed that, but I literally took that part of the sentence out. And I'm like, do I really hate that word that much? I don't like the way it came out. It sounded just not good. And I literally took it out. So I guess I'm on
Not a
the
good
I
word.
hate that word too.
Yeah, I hate that word.
That's funny. So Emily and Tamara and Gretchen all get in one of the crock pots, and they're supposedly going to bury the hatchet. Do you think Emily is being a good mediator, or is she just too partial to Tamara to be able to really effectively navigate that conversation?
Part of me thinks that Emily likes to stir the pot a little bit. And she says she's just wanting to put everything out there so that everyone can resolve it. And I guess, that's what they're supposed to be doing on the show, being honest and putting everything out there so they could talk about it. And I think she loves that. She loves to do that, to bring two other people together and have them battle it out.
Hmm.
So that's what I see with Emily. And I like her, but she does like bringing two people together to talk about their issues. So,
She's a
yeah.
litigator by nature. Like she's even that way
Yeah.
with her husband. You know what I mean? And so she's and I could relate. She's one of my all-time favorite housewives and probably always will be, even though I've been pretty honest on the podcast. I'm struggling with her this season. I've even invited her on to please explain why she's doing some of the things she's doing. But at the end of the day, I find it refreshing that she's just not willing to just sweep everything under the rug and kind of move on as if everything's okay. I
Yeah.
just don't know it has to be every flippin' episode.
I know.
However, this episode, I thought in particular that it was effective. I think that she held her Gretchen's feet to the fire when she needed to. And then I think that she allowed Tamara to not do what Tamara does, which is run, right? Because when
Yep.
Gretchen said what she said, the first thing she said was, no, no, Tamara told me she's open to listen. Well, Tamara wouldn't have said that. And then there would have been no conversation at all.
Right.
And then
Yeah.
the moment that Tamara opened her mouth, what's the first thing she says? You're irrelevant. It's almost like, one step forward and 15 steps back with these two. And
Yeah.
honestly, the one thing that this is where Gretchen loses me, man. When she says in the confessional that when they asked, well, now you guys made up. And then she says, do you think it's going to hold? And she goes, oh, not at all. She says, I gave up hope from her when she accepted the Lord into her life and it didn't change back then. And it reminded me of I think it was in this episode last week when somebody said, beware of the people sitting in the first row at church.
Yeah.
And I was just like, why does that have to be her moment? You know what I mean? Her line in the sand.
Yeah.
Because what does one thing have to do with another?
So Gretchen, uh, she just rubs me wrong. I don't know how to put my finger in it. Maybe it's a little bit of the righteous, religious righteousness that she loves to show off, but it's like it's a little hypocritical in the way she behaves. And it's like, are you a Christian? Or I mean, and I don't want to say what's in anyone's heart,
Right.
but she seems to straddle the line. So she likes to go over and be, you know, now maybe nasty Gretchen, party Gretchen, wild Gretchen. And then on the other side, she puts on her big hair with her little tiara and her pink dress and sits with her cross necklace.
Stepford
And
wife, heck, Stepford wife, Gretchen. It's so
I do not
creepy.
like that outfit.
So creepy.
It
So
does not
creepy.
do her. She's very beautiful, but what she's doing with her hair this season, and I'm not trying to be, but I don't know what she's
No,
thinking,
I'll say
but
it. She looks ridiculous. Sorry.
it's kind of ridiculous. Yeah.
No.
But no, I was surprised that she came back at all. And I can see that she really works up Tamara just by being in the room. She's hardly able to contain herself.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens in season 20. I don't know who's coming back. I've heard a little bit of rumblings about some stuff that went on at the reunion and how that might impact who's coming back and who's not.
Oh,
But we'll see. I mean, really, I think that this episode kind of showed us what's broken with this franchise, and that's that we're doing the same thing. We're divided into two teams, and we have one team trying to persuade the other team that we should all just kiss and make up so we could all go to Amsterdam together and have a
yeah.
good time. And at the end of the day, like, wake up and smell the housewives, guys. We've been doing this for 19 seasons. This is the format of the show, you know?
Yeah.
And the fact that we keep trying to change it in a way, to me, is almost like the definition of insanity. We know this is what happens. We keep looking for something different, and then we wonder why we're coming out with the same thing. Well, we're putting the same formula together.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's going to be different next season. I do know that this episode could have ended with real, true resolve. But when Gretchen decided to go back to the room and call Slade, I think there's editing going on there. I think that Slade must have made a fuss about how he's coming across this season. And so he wanted to make sure that he came across as the one who was trying to broker the peace. And when Gretchen came back to the table, she comes across as the person who can't let go. And it's
Yeah.
it's just not a good thing. But just wait, next week's going to be crazy. Do you remember in real time when all of that stuff was going on social media about Gretchen?
No, I
Yeah,
don't follow them on social media, and maybe I should.
you need to start because it's funny.
Okay.
It to me that's part of the fun of this is being able to see it in real time and then also come back and see once it's aired how it like really interfered or how it integrated with like real life and how it affected them. And there were some real nasty posts. The posts have been posted on Instagram now. I'm not going to repeat them on this podcast, but they're very homophobic, and they're
From
very
who? From Gretchen?
from Gretchen, Gretchen liking these posts and in some cases
Okay, yeah.
commenting and then deleting her comments, etc. And so that's what we're going to see. We're going to see the wrath of Heather, who is don't mess with her babies. That's Mama
Right.
Bear.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And I can't wait for it. I'm here for it. I'm so excited.
Yeah, I'm definitely here for that. Okay, so I did see the preview at the very end where they were looking at the phone and they were like, oh, she said what? She liked what? And I was like, who are they talking about? What is that? That's going to be a good one. Yeah.
It's Gretchen. So there were some really bad things that were out there about her last summer when all of this was going down. And we'll see if it's going to carry on over because this next episode is the season finale. So after this, we have
Oh, it
a,
is?
yeah,
Okay.
this is it. And after this, we have a three-part reunion. So maybe we'll like get together and watch the season finale together on Zoom or something. That'll be fun.
That would be fun.
And then we can report on it together next time we hang out.
Yeah.
I really have had a good time talking to you today. I think we're
Me
going
too.
to really make some change. I think we're going to help each other grow, and there's nothing wrong. Our message is all fun, all good things. It's feel good, be good, and we're good people. So I think that we're going to do great things together. I'm very excited
I think
about
so too.
our new adventure. So I'm going to tell the folks a couple of the things that we're going to talk about in the future. And we've discussed talking about things like GLP-1s and peptides and seed oils and your hormones and how they affect your sex drive and all of those things. And we'll be doing that along with covering my journey as we move forward. So some of those things will probably naturally come up anyway as we walk through. But I'm really excited to get back and tell everybody out there how things looked for me, you know, on our next episode when we get together and give everybody an update.
Yeah, I'm so excited to move forward, Virginia. It's going to be great.
Yes, I'm so happy too. So, Jen, tell everybody where they could find your podcast because if you're not listening, get on there, follow, subscribe, do all of the things. Tell them where they can find your podcast
On Spotify, on Apple, on iHeart, and I'm probably forgetting something.
and all
I
the other
think
platforms. And what's it
all the
called?
platforms, the Jenn Baker podcast.
Very cool. And we're going to try to get some of these on YouTube as well. So Jen and I will be working on getting her YouTube channel launched. And I can be found at Living on the Verge, VIRG. It's a play on my name podcast. And that is also my Instagram. What's your Instagram right now? I know you're changing it, but go ahead and give them the one that you're using now.
It's Live Well with Jenn B.
There you go. And she'll be making some changes as we evolve. We will continue to share our evolution with you. And we hope you've enjoyed this. I've had a really good time bringing this to you. We'll be back again together soon. And until then, Jen, I'll see you soon. Let's just keep hanging on and we'll both be just living on the verge.
That's right. Thank you so much, Virginia. It was so great to be here.
Likewise. Have a good day, sweetie.
Okay, you too. Bye.
Bye.